Good morning, Ospreys. Today is Friday, January 6th, 2023. It is day 1 for specials.
The weather today will be cloudy and cool.
For lunch today, we will have chicken or fish nuggets. Now it's time for the morning meeting.
It's Friday, yay! Have a great weekend with your friends and family.
Today we're going to read another chapter from 8 class pets plus 1 squirrel divided by 1 dog equals chaos. Listen to the questions we read and try to answer them yourselves.
Good morning, Ospreys, and we are back to read our book, 8 class pets plus 1 squirrel divided by 1 dog equals chaos. And it's not really super chaotic right now. There's not a whole lot going on. We're just meeting animals. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened in the chapters that we read before break, and then we'll read our next chapter. So we have quite a bit left, quite a few animals to meet, and I wonder when the chaos is going to happen. So our first chapter was Twitch, and he was the schoolyard squirrel. We met him, and we learned that, he thought some funny things about people. He was talking about how it takes a long time for kids to learn how to do things, and he already figured out how to climb a tree when he was young, and so he doesn't need to learn anything else. I thought that was pretty funny because he seems like he knows a lot more than kids. And then we met Green Eggs and Hamster first, and he was the first grade hamster, and he thought he was good at math, didn't he? Then we learned as he was talking about math that he wasn't really as good at math as he thought. And then from there, he went to Miss Lucy Cottontail, and she kind of seemed bossy and thought she was better than everybody else. And she directed Twitch to go to Sweetie, the library rat, and that's who we're going to read about next. So we've been talking a lot about character traits and how different animals in the different classrooms, they had different character traits in the book. So we're going to go ahead and read about the rat next. And Twitch is being chased by the dog, remember? So he's trying to find a safe place to hide. And Lucy Cottontail said that he couldn't go in her cage, but that maybe the library rat would let him in. So Sweetie is the library rat. I like being a rat, even though rats sometimes have a bad reputation. For example, if a person tattles or does something mean, another person might say, "You rat!" I never tattle, and I'm not mean. Sometimes when the parents of the students first meet me, they ask Miss Krause, the librarian, "Does he bite?" Miss Krause answers, "Does your dog bite? Would you keep him if he did?" "No, Sweetie doesn't bite." Then she'll hand me a treat to show them. I stand up on my back feet and wiggle my pink nose. I have heard people say this is cute, and I'm working hard to impress them. Then I take the treat very gently from Mrs. Krause, and I eat it, holding it with my fingers. Another thing people say if something is dirty and worn is that thing is ratty. I'm not dirty or worn looking. I have white fur, and I spend a good deal of time grooming it. Since the fur is mine, and since I'm a rat, the fur is ratty, but also clean and neat. And if someone has messy hair, people call it a rat's nest. There you have me. I am a bit messy because I love to chew on things. Not fingers, just about everything else. Every year, the first story Miss Krause reads to the incoming first graders is Cinderella. Some of the children complain that they already know the story, but Miss Krause says she wants to start the year with a story that is a good rat role model. The rat in Cinderella is the hero of the story because he drives the coach that carries Cinderella to the ball. Without the rat coachman, Cinderella wouldn't even meet the prince. I love to hear stories, even when the hero is someone else besides a rat. My friend Twitch, the squirrel, often comes after school to visit me. He's too shy to sit on the window ledge when the children are there because they move too fast when they see him. Twitch calls me cousin and tells me stories about outside. I tell him stories made up from bits and pieces of the ones I've heard from Mrs. Krause's stories from Mrs. Krause and the children. In my stories, the hero is often a rat. In Twitch's stories, the bad guy is always an owl. One day, Twitch came not to the window ledge, but running into the library. "Help!" he said. I started to say, "What?" But before I could finish asking, a dog ran in. Rats can't see very well, which is why when we are loose in a room, we like to stay near the walls, but we are excellent at sniffing. I could smell the dog right away. He smelled angry. And then I heard him. "There you are," the dog barked at Twitch. "You'll make a tasty supper." In stories, that would be called showing a character's intentions. I guess owls aren't the only ones who can be bad in a bad guy in a squirrel story. Twitch ran up the leg of the table where my cage sits. He grabbed a hold of the bars of my cage and said, "Cousin, help!" "Back off," I yelled at the dog, trying to make my voice big and fierce. The dog was not impressed. His barks were a lot scarier than my squeaks. He jumped at us. He wasn't tall enough to be able to jump onto the table where Twitch and I were, but he almost made it. He jumped again and got a little higher, so that the nails of his front paws scratched the wood of the table as he tried to hold on, but couldn't. Twitch said to me, "The rabbit says you can open your cage and let me in." Good idea. That rabbit was very smart. I jiggled the latch. The dog jumped again. His front paw landed on the table, but the weight of his back end made him slide off again. For a moment, he got tangled up in his own long leash, but only for a moment. He took a few steps away to get a running start. "Twitch," I said, "let go of the door. I can't swing it open with you holding on." Twitch let go. I swung open the door, and Twitch ran in, and I slammed the door shut. Whew, safe. The dog leaped, and this time he landed on the table. But he was going so fast, he slid and rammed right into the cage, knocking us into a display of art books that Mrs. Krause had set up. I'm going to show you this picture of the dog running into the cage. Books and cage and Twitch and I went flying off the back edge of the table. I was dizzier than the time Miss Krause put me in an exercise ball and one of the boys kicked it across the reading area, except nobody was calling for a timeout for this dog. The cage had landed on its side, and I could see that the door had not only popped open, but was bent back, so it would not close. The cage was no longer somewhere placed to be safe from the dog. The dog was looking a bit confused to find the cage wasn't on the table anymore, but then he spotted us on the floor, and he jumped down. "Run!" I yelled to Twitch. So that's the end of the chapter. I think we're getting into the little bit of the chaos in the book, aren't we? So now, in the school, while the kids aren't there, of course, remember it's nighttime, there's a dog and a hamster, and a rat and a squirrel now running through the school. So I want you to think about this week, what do you think is going to happen next? The chapter that we're going to be reading next, though, is a school of neon tetras, and they're the 3rd grade fish. So I can predict, at least just by reading this chapter, that they're going to go into a 3rd grade classroom. But I wonder what's going to happen. I hope you enjoyed this book, and next week we'll have a guest reader.
Guess what? We're back for more.
Another one.
How great can this new year be when we have so many exciting things and so many Osprey kiddos doing the right thing? This is Camellia and the Shark team, Ms. Thomas' class, who did an excellent job and got a positive behavior for perseverance and hard work, for really working hard on her letter identification and letter relationships. Excellent, excellent job. So proud of you. High five. Rock star. Thank you so much, and this is yours. All right, Ospreys, have a good day.
Perseverance, good trait to have.
Yes.
Do you want to hear a joke? Sure. This is a joke from Caden in Miss Hallett's class. How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh? I don't know. 10 tickles.
JPS kids soar higher. Super problem solvers, outstanding writers, accomplished readers, ready for success. Now let's say our success equation. Hard work plus resiliency plus teamwork equals success.
Have a great day.